Sun Yun's Eye of Truth was automatically activated. From the Eyes of Truth, Sun Yun knows that this is the world of Iron Blood, a special place where the administrator of Iron Blood Tyrant lives. Uninvited people will not be allowed to enter. The smile on Sun Yun's lips didn't last long when the system sent him a notification. The Iron Blood Tyrant King administrator felt offended by someone's search. The sword stuck in the snow slowly rose. Not only that, it also emitted a murderous aura as if warning Sun Yun. The leader is helping the Iron Blood Tyrant King convey the word to Sun Yun. The Iron Blood Tyrant King administrator is telling you to stop doing useless things and follow the sword. Sun Yun obediently followed the sword, which brought him to the front of a house. As soon as Sun Yun opened the door and entered, he received a notification that the Iron Blood Tyrant King administrator was looking at you. The woman with sharp eyes looked straight at Sun Yun. She introduced Sun Yun. She was the administrator responsible for the meeting with him, Iron Blood Tyrant King. Sun Yun was extremely surprised by Thiet Haya's appearance. She was beautiful beyond imagination. But that beauty didn't last long, as her name Tyrant showed a chilling aura on her body. She suddenly approached Sun Yun's face, moving so fast that he didn't notice. She stared into Sun Yun's eyes, then reached for the blue bottle sitting on the cabinet. She told him, "I was wondering what kind of monster you were, but you look normal. Then return to your original seat." Thiet Huyat knew Sun Yun from the beginning because his battles left quite an impression. Sun Yun wondered and asked her, "Have you seen my trials up until now?" She poured water into a glass and answered Sun Yun, "I only know the final result. Observing the challenges on the 8th floor is impossible." Sun Yun couldn't hide his surprise. Thiet Huyat Duangduang is an administrator but cannot observe the match. It's truly unbelievable. Thiet Hui shook the glass of water in her hand. She just needed to look at Sun Yun's current expression to know what he was thinking about. She explained to him that administrators are basically not omnipotent like gods. They cannot rule the tower. Sun Yun was full of doubt and asked Iron Blood, "Do you want to know what she is?" Thiet Huyat leisurely answered Sun Yun, "Instead, the administrator is just a subordinate of the tower, so you don't need to be afraid. As long as I am a subordinate of the tower, I cannot harm you." But these things are not the main topic of today. Having a personal conversation between her and him is a benefit for Sun Yun. If you're curious about anything, just ask. Sun Yun was still extremely wary of this former woman, but he didn't see any hostility from her. Without seeing the hostility, Sun Yun asked her, "May I know what this personal conversation is about?" Thiet Huyat explained to him that a personal meeting was a benefit for the pioneers. You can ask any question to the administrator and get an answer without the need for a questionnaire. Sun Yun has long had a question in his heart. He continued to ask Iron Blood, "On the 5th floor, I was almost killed by a fake challenger from another world. How did he get to my floor? Can he penetrate any floor?" Thiet Huyat also thought that the question would be a big deal, but it turned out to be just a small matter. She answered him, "When invading another person's floor, the intruder could not only get a reward from it, but could also receive a better benefit. The challengers of another world are usually those who have been in the tower for decades, so once someone defeats them, they will receive a great reward. And this world's tower will one day merge with the tower of another world." Sun Yun became more and more confused. He still didn't seem to be able to fully understand all of Thiet Haya's explanation. She continued to explain to him that, after the 20th floor, there would be multiple combined trials instead of single trials, meaning Sun Yun would encounter fake challenges from another world. Sun Yun continued to be silent for a long time. Perhaps this was all he wanted to know from this tower. Sun Yun opened his mouth a few times. He still had one question to ask. What is the trial tower? This question from Sun Yun made Thiet Huyat a bit silent. Sun Yun's question was also the question she wanted the tower to answer. Sun Yun was even more surprised. Thiet Huyat Duangduang was an administrator but didn't know the answer. Iron Blood told Sun Yun a story. Administrators were also fake challengers. People who died after the 14th floor had the privilege of being revived and becoming administrators. Previously, Thiet Huyat also wanted to climb to the top of the tower, but she couldn't, not just her. And all the dead administrators didn't reach the top, that's why they became administrators. Sung Yoon clenched his fist. If Thiet Huyet said so, were the administrators originally all ordinary challengers? Sung Yoon was looking forward to learning about the top of the tower. Thiet Hya's attitude suddenly changed because of Sung Yoon's words. She strangled Sung Yoon and lifted him up high. I'll remind you in a strong voice, the top of the tower is not something you can talk about so lightly. The expression on Sung Yoon's face was still extremely calm. Thiet Hya's actions had no effect on him at all. Thiet Huyet smirked and asked him, "You're not surprised at all, aren't you scared?" Sung Yoon has nothing to fear. Moreover, right from the beginning, Thiet Huyet said that this conversation was beneficial, but Sung Aeol did not feel any murderous intentions from her. Sung Yoon grabbed his hand on the wall. The wooden wall in Thiet Hya's house was immediately broken. He escaped Thiet Hya's hand and walked out. Thanks to Thiet Huyet, Sung versus reminded him that he would not be so easily attacked by her again. Thiet Hya's laughter rose. Sung Yoon is truly an interesting guy. This was the first time she saw someone destroying the administrator's house like Sung Yoon. However, that convinced her. She offered Sung Yoon a discipleship contract with her. The expression on Sung Yoon's face froze. He had never thought about this. A while later, Sung Yoon returned to the waiting room on the 8th floor. As soon as he arrived, he quickly activated the exclusive store. The contractor's exclusive store appeared before him. Sung Yoon still couldn't believe it. He actually signed a contract with an administrator. At that time, Thiet Huyet was extremely excited and told him, "I cannot miss an experienced challenger with courage." And Sung Yoon agreed to that contract. All of your stats will be increased by 1 as a reward by the contractor. Sung Yoon continued to open the contractor's exclusive store availability catalog to check. The possibilities in front of him surprised him greatly. There were levels of available stores. He wondered, was the exclusive availability he got on the 8th floor different from these? Sung Yoon wanted to check the next page when he received a notification. He did not have permission to open the second page of the available list. He would be able to open the second page in the waiting room on the 10th floor. Sung Yoon had to click on each detailed description of each feature to check first. Sung Yoon's face began to ponder after looking at each description. He was thinking, do I need to leave a product score and wait? Sung Yoon decided not to wait but used 1,000 products to buy a stone-like mind. No matter the situation, you can still make a reasonable decision. The duration of emotional effects such as anger are reduced by half and coordination in combat is increased. After preparing for everything, Sung Yoon decided to accept the challenge of the 8th floor. The theme of the 8th floor trial is destruction, completion conditions, defeating the undead, and summoning skeleton soldiers. Sung Yoon was transported by a teleportation door to a mountain. Below his head were also skeleton soldiers, crowded like ants. Sung Yoon ran downhill. He jumped into the center of the skeleton soldiers' position. All the skeleton soldiers were thrown away by Sung Yoon's attack force. When the skeleton soldiers saw him, they were extremely upset, constantly holding swords to surround and attack him. The more they attacked, the more excited Sung Yoon became. How could this group of chickens be his opponents? But the problem was that there were too many of them. Sung Yoon ran wild alone. As soon as the mist bones ran towards him, his heads were blown away, turning into useless chunks of mist. However, Sung Yoon's proficiency was only 0.08%, making him extremely depressed. Sung Yoon suddenly realized that increasing his proficiency with this trial would not do much. After a while of hard fighting, Sung Yoon suddenly heard a voice coming from far away. Who is there? What bastard dares to destroy our sacred land? Sung Yoon quickly sucked the souls he had just destroyed here into his body. He had captured and absorbed the skeleton soldiers. The number of captured souls was 1. Sung Yoon took advantage of the souls he had just possessed and used them to make them attack his own kind. He tilted his head, looking surprised. He never knew that skeleton soldiers could be so useful. What you need to do now is just leave this place to your disciples. You just need to go find the boss. Sung Yoon activated the Wind Eye skill. All of his moves increased by 60%. He flew over the heads of the skeleton soldiers, heading straight towards the mountain ahead. Sung Yoon stopped in front of a Bone King. the corner of his mouth curled up. The thing he was looking for finally appeared. The Bone King extremely despised people like Sung Yoon. His cold voice came from him. A weak person came to my sacred land. You will pay a heavy price. He turned the pages of the book in his hand, then began to recite the spell. His subordinates were sleeping peacefully underground and were summoned by him. Sun Yoon looked up. The Bone King's subordinates also had large bodies and were on the same level as sand golems. The Bone King looked at Sun Yoon's ecstatic appearance and thought he was scared of his strength. But Sun Yoon immediately quelled his arrogance. He was even more arrogant than him. Couldn't he have summoned someone stronger? If that's all, I'll be very disappointed. The Bone King was officially angered by Sun Yoon. He immediately ordered his subordinates to attack him. The monsters rushed forward. Sun Yoon slowly activated his instant attack skill. He passed through the monster and easily took its head with just one swing of his sword. He rushed towards the standing Bone King, but this guy was weaker than he imagined. Sun Yoon only slightly moved his arm, causing the Bone King to fall backwards. His skill proficiency increased by 1.2%. Sun Yoon immediately felt excited. Zombies really increased his proficiency a lot. Sun Yoon is like a monster right now. He slowly walked closer to the Bone King. Everything should probably end here. At that moment, his eyes accidentally saw the book in the Bone King's hand. Didn't the Cot King just rely on this book to summon monsters? He suddenly thought of an idea. He would make the Bone King his slave. He threw the book at the Bone King. He asked him, "Can you summon other bone soldiers?" But this Bone King still stubbornly refused to understand Sun Yoon's words. Sun Yoon just had to give up. The Bone King began to feel scared, constantly begging Sun Yoon not to come close to him. It honestly answers Sun Yoon's question, when a guard dies, I can summon it for a while. Sun Yoon immediately asked him to recover one right now. The King of Bones wondered why Sun Yoon asked like that. They couldn't compete with him. The Bone King talked a lot, making Sun Yoon extremely impatient. Sun Yoon's stubbornness made the Bone King extremely scared, so he hastily followed his request. The beast was summoned, but was immediately defeated by Sun Yoon. Sun Yoon continuously kicked the Bone King's body, asking him to call all the dead skeleton soldiers back to life and summon more guards. The summoned beast was then mercilessly murdered by Sun Yoon. The Cot King screamed in tears. How long would he have to do these things? This time, the Bone King summoned a giant beast. It frantically attacked Sun Yoon, unleashing 5 giant punches to attack him. Sun Yoon still stood motionless. He slowly raised his hand. Just one finger could block the monster's attack. Sun Yoon jumped onto the beast's arm, ran along its arm, then cut off the beast's head. His proficiency increased by 1.2%. The tower system sent him a notification. The proficiency of the unique trait, necromancy, has reached 100%. Unique characteristic, necromancy has increased by 1 level. Sun Yoon was extremely satisfied. His necromancy had reached C level. The Bone King was extremely angry when Sun Yoon abused him. He cursed Sun Yoon, but his breathing was extremely weak, making him unable to say a complete sentence. Sun Yoon turned to look at him. The cracks on his body spread every time he gasped. It looked like he was about to die. Sun Yoon raised the sword. He originally wanted to take advantage of him a little more, but this situation seemed to be no good. Sun Yoon's blade gently passed over his neck. His head flew high, ending his life. The death of the Bone King caused him to receive a mortal reward that surpasses that of demons, increasing his agility by 1. Sun Yoon continued to absorb the souls of living beings. His proficiency increased to 17.4%. Sun Yoon completed 8 challenging floors of the tower. All stats will increase by 2 as a reward for completion. He received 700 products as a reward for completion, received 300 products as a reward for completion. Sun Yoon continued to move to the waiting room of the 9th floor. Sun Yoon's system began to be completed. The operations department was ready to observe the testing process. Sun Yoon can buy C-level skills at the skill shop. Sun Yoon opened each detailed description to check. The unique characteristic of his necromancy is already at C level. Sun Yoon has absorbed extremely powerful skills. You also inherit all the proficiency levels. Furthermore, the ability to absorb skills has also been clearly shown. Even though the trials on the 8th floor were extremely boring, it still didn't make Sung Yoon complacent. Just because the 8th floor is boring doesn't mean the 9th floor is the same. You have to take advantage of the time before going to the 9th floor to practice a little. Sung Yoon looked at the sword in his hand. He could still use this sword a little more. The remaining problem is his defensive skills. His dagger skill had reached its maximum level, now he just needed another sword skill to replace it. Sung Yoon continued to open the skill shop. The skills he could buy were displayed on the list. Sung Yoon continuously scrolled through the screen. He frowned. There were very few sword skills he could use. If so, then you will create it yourself. He decided to use 25,000 points to buy level E, basic swordsmanship. This skill will help you enhance all sword skills. After a moment of pondering, Sung Yoon chose the D-level hunter dagger skill and E-level basic swordsmanship to combine together. The results showed that the devil hunter skill was C-level. When Sung Yoon uses this skill, all basic knowledge of swordsmanship will be increased, and the cutting power of equipped swords and knives will increase to level 3. However, this effect will not stack with other skills. It seems that this is a skill specifically for hunting monsters, exactly as Sung Yoon expected. Sung Yoon held several other skill plates in his hand. Should he merge the remaining skills? First, Sung Yoon will check the compatibility of the skills and the combined probability. He chose D-level rapid recovery and went against D-level natural laws to create a C-level lost blood regeneration skill. Then combine to regenerate level C lost blood and level D pain resistance into level B gray blood. Sung Yoon just arbitrarily combined unrelated skills but created Vipro results. The instant recovery ability increased to level 3 is already terrible, and the pain reduction ability is also promoted. But because the waiting room had a recovery effect, he couldn't check it clearly. Sung Yoon decided to temporarily remove the healing effect at the ground. Fatigue would build up and he could not recover from physical damage. Sung Yoon continued to hold out his arm. He continuously slashed his arm. The bloody arm immediately healed again. It was truly an amazing ability. Even if he wasn't in the waiting room, the recovery ability was still terrible. Now, Sung Yoon has both a soul shield and powerful recovery skills. Next, Sung Yoon continued to access the chat system but there was still nothing interesting. Sung vs had no regrets and continued his journey to climb the tower. The topic of this test is combat. Conditions for completing the test. Destroy all monsters in the arena within the specified time. Completion time is 1 day. Before Sung Yoon entered the trial, the system warned him that the 9th floor of Sung Yoon's trial had a challenger in the martial arts world. When Sung Yoon stepped to the trial floor, the test target of the challenger in the martial arts world was defeated. In front of Sung Yoon was an old man with white hair and beard, standing tall on the corpse of the beast. Introducing myself as the martial arts leader of the Baek Soon Hat Martial Arts Alliance. The goal of his training has changed. He must destroy this old man. Soon Hat kept asking for Sung Yoon's name, making him extremely uncomfortable. He blatantly barged into your floor and you had to be polite to him. But if Sung Yoon still stubbornly refused to listen, he would start the battle right now. Soon Hat held a sword and rushed towards Sung Yoon. From one sword, Soon Hat created hundreds of swords of energy that rushed straight at Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon activates the skill Elegant as Wind. Movement speed increases. He continuously bought swords, successfully blocking Soon Hat's swords that were rushing at him. Sung Yoon found Soon Hat's arrogant appearance extremely offensive. He asked Soon Hat to stop being so polite. Didn't he come here to kill him and take the reward? If you've come for that goal, why bother pretending? Sung Yoon tickled his itch. He raised his sword to the sky, the sword glowed, and a hurricane arose and rolled. He used his unique sword light ability. Sung Yoon will be blind for 5 seconds. Sung Yoon quickly activated mana resistance. Blinding time reduced to 2.5 seconds. Sung Yoon continued to activate the Spirit Eye skill. In this fog, he could still see through attacks that were invisible to the naked eye. Soon Hat's sword suddenly brought the sword to attack Sung Yoon from behind. Sung Yoon promptly reacted. he tilted his head to one side. Luckily, he avoided a fatal blow from his opponent. He achieved the blind dodge feat, and his agility increased by 2. The effect from Han Suk ended. Sun Yoon has regained his sight. The black smoke that was covering him also disappeared. Sun Yoon activated the Grey Blood skill. His stamina quickly recovered. Sun Yoon didn't bother to answer his question. He simultaneously activated 2 instant acceleration skills and was as elegant as the wind. All output speeds increase by 50%. Passive skill accumulation rate is 5/7. This is also the time for Sun Yoon to counterattack. He crashed into Han Suk. Your sword and his touched each other. The atmosphere became more tense, the extremely powerful aura dissipated. Sun Yoon continuously turned around. He stretched out his leg and kicked him in the chest. He kept his eyes closed from beginning to end, but could still see Sun Yoon's movements. Soon Hat finally grabbed Sun Yoon's arms and feet. He suddenly told him that the user's dark magic was very strange. Sun Yoon moved, escaping Soon Hat's hand. He also opened his eyes now. He will not be lenient with Sun Yoon anymore. Soon Hat continues to use the unique skill Light Sword. Sun Yoon continued to be blind for 5 seconds. Sun Yoon was hit by Han Suk's skill again. He still used the mana resistance skill. Blind time reduced to 2.5 seconds. Spirit Eye skill is activated at the same time. Soon Hat attacked even more vigorously this time. The attack speed was dizzyingly fast, making it extremely difficult for Sun Yoon to dodge the attack. The sword suddenly appeared on Sun Yoon's side, leaving him unable to defend. In that critical moment, he activated the unique skill Iron Protection of the B-level Wrought Iron Chain. 10% of physical damage would be absorbed. Sun Yoon's arm was severed and his shield was also broken. The pain resistance skill was activated instantly. His arms grew. The loss of sight from the unique skill of the light sword has ended. Sun Yoon regains his sight. He deliberately ran next to the giant rock, then smashed it. The rocks of different sizes all facing Soon Hat's position. Sun Yoon took that opportunity to run behind him. He turned to look after him. He thought Sun Yoon was a good martial artist, but it seemed he only knew how to borrow those moves from elsewhere. Sun Yoon was extremely dissatisfied. Wasn't the unique trait he used also the skill he received from the tower? Sun Yoon's skill is elegant as the wind has now been accumulated to 7 parts. All his movement speeds will increase by 70%. In Soon Hat's eyes, Sun Yoon is someone who uses dark magic to attack, a swordsman who depends on those borrowed skills. Sun Yoon moved quickly. He rushed straight towards Soon Hat. He immediately blocked his attack. Sun Yoon said to him with a bright voice, "Or will you die because of these borrowed skills?" In the moment Sun Yoon's sword tip touched the top of his head, he remembered his past time, how he had overcome countless levels of challenge, killing countless challengers from thousands of worlds with the sword. These people, especially those from Earth, are extremely weak, to the point that they are called honeypots. It should have been the same this time, but unfortunately his opponent was Han Sun Yoon. Sun Yoon deliberately pointed the sword in one direction. His hair was so messy that blood began to flow out. Sun Yoon made him roll and tickle. Soon Hat weakly looked up at Sun Yoon. At that moment, the system sent him a series of notifications. His battle with Soon Hat attracted the administrators. A betting match between the administrators silently took place. Soon Hat had never encountered such great humiliation. He was so embarrassed that he became angry and continuously activated a series of superior skills to deal with Sun Yoon. His actions made Sun Yoon look down on him even more. Hadn't he always despised skills? Why did he activate them now? However, his skills were limited by the tower. The tower's penalties began to appear. All of his stats were reduced to 8. Soon Hat still used the light sword skill to attack Sun Yoon, but Sun Yoon was so used to his skill that he immediately activated the Spirit Eye skill to deal with it. He lost control to the point of madness, rushing at Sun Yoon. An extremely powerful sword aimed at him. Sun Yoon immediately activated the trio of attacks. He rushed forward, ready to face his attack. 2 powers of different levels collided. Losing his eyesight due to the unique characteristic of the light sword right at the end, Sun Yoon was extremely tired. He almost collapsed. Soon Hat still stood there. The sword in Soon Hat's hand fell. Soon Hat's body trembled. Soon Hat's body was cut in two by Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon has completed the 9th floor of the trial tower. The first thing Sung Yoon had to do after killing Soon Hat, he absorbed the soul of the challenger Soon Hat AK. His abilities increased by 27%. He received the 6th sense skin level C+, was given 35,000 points by the system, and an additional 1,000 SXP bonus. Sung Yoon returned to the room on the 10th floor. Before he left, he received a series of notifications from other administrators, surprising Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon's smile curled up. After all, most of the administrators who witnessed his match were moved. Sung Yoon felt quite proud, because if you look at it another way, they acknowledged his strength. On the other hand, Cui Huyat saw other administrators and immediately sent out a notice to remind him not to be mesmerized by other administrators. At that moment, he received a notice from the White Crane Sword Master Administrator. He wanted to have more authority over the contractors in the exclusive store. Sung Yoon was extremely surprised. This was the first time he encountered this. All the administrators did this just because they wanted to give him permission. It was truly a surprise. When Sung Yoon was confused and didn't know whether to agree or not, Cui Huyat sent him a notification to explain. Empowering administrators to get the love of contractors. Sung Yoon asked them, "So will you contact me at some point?" In response to Sung Yoon's question, the White Crane Sword Master laughed and said that not at once but many times. Theory Blood immediately explained to Sung Yoon, the benefits given were not very beneficial, so don't care about it too much. Sung Yoon fell into another thought. Didn't Cui Huyat just say that he had a good right and wanted to receive favors from him? After all, they just wanted something back after giving him something. If that's the case, then you won't need to hesitate anymore. He thanked the administrator, then in turn added the admin authority of White Crane Sword Master and Air Sword Master were added to his exclusive store. Sung Yoon was taken to the waiting room area on the 10th floor. The system has been expanded. Sung Yoon can enter the common area. Sung Yoon thought that the administrators could also observe what happened here, so he proactively asked them, "Are you guys still observing?" But there was still no answer. There was still a terrifying silence. Sung Yoon was extremely embarrassed. He coughed a few times. Before his eyes suddenly appeared a notice board. The contractor's authorized store was being opened. In addition to the C-level pure mind power that he possesses, the rights such as the A+ level Iron and Blood Soul power, the D+ level Winter Domination power, and the C+ level Sword Master power, he must buy with SXP. He clicked on the description of each right in turn. With the C+ level Sword Master's Fist, he can infuse mana into the weapon and use the sword. Unlike Iron Blood Tyrant King's exclusive store, White Crane Sword Master's exclusive store, V can see the second page of the store. The second page of the shop gave you the rights: Bone Regeneration Power Level C+, Iron Blood Sword Power Level A, Death Head Power Level B. Sung Yoon had to say how amazing these skills were. He really wanted to buy them, but he only had 2,000 SXP left in his account. The rights he needed to buy back were the rights to regenerate bones for 1,500 SXP and the rights to Sword Master for 1,500 SXP. Sung Yoon began to hesitate. He didn't know which skill to choose between these two skills. Should he earn more money to buy it? After a moment of pondering, Sung Yoon decided to use 1,500 SXP to buy level C+ Sword Master Authority. The newly purchased Air Master Authority was immediately activated. Sung Yoon quickly moved into a sword form. Even though he already had 3 mana skills, this one still felt different. If the other skills transfer mana into the sword like a waterfall, this skill is like a gentle stream. The system continuously sent notifications to Sung Yoon. Fist Swordmaster has been activated for 1 minute. Mana consumption increased by 2%. Fist Air Swordmaster has been activated for 2 minutes. Mana consumption increased by 4%. The Swordmaster's Air Fist has been activated for 3 minutes. Mana consumption increased by 6%. Looking at Sung Yoon's current expression, he could guess what his current mood was. He was extremely surprised. Every minute, the amount of mana consumed increased by 2%. so it only took 50 minutes to consume 100% of mana. Sung Yoon quickly deactivated the Sword Master's weapon. He needed to control the amount of mana well when using this thing. After that, Sung Yoon checked the Sixth Sense bonus feature. This was a skill with the effect that his senses would be increased to the point of using his sixth sense. Sung Yoon stared at the notice board, he nodded repeatedly and said, "If my senses could reach their peak, it would surely be of great benefit." Next, Sung Yoon's eyes turned to the two words community on the screen. He just hoped that someone would guide him in this new square. He joined the community. The atmosphere here was extremely lively. Many people talked about the square. Sung Yoon kept scrolling on the screen, until he saw a message from the player whose name was the strongest swordsman. That person sent a message to the group chat. When they arrived at the square, there was a strange foreigner who asked me to exchange authority with him. If he hadn't joined the community, Sung Yoon wouldn't have known these things, and he didn't expect that authority could be exchanged. Sung Yoon started to feel excited. Maybe he had to go there and feel it for himself. Sung Yoon was moved to the lobby of the 10th floor. In the square, people stepped out of the magic circle one after another. The black-haired young man couldn't hide his surprise when he arrived here. He used the questionnaire to ask a few things. He would go get as many benefits as possible and then come back here. He leisurely walked forward but was unaware of the disdainful eyes standing behind the bushes looking at him. One of them knew the young man's identity as a Korean rank hunter. Creepy smiles emerged from them. The black-haired guy deliberately asked people for permission to kill people in the square, right? And then their dastardly plan took place. The young man's body was continuously hit by their skills, causing his body to be unable to control itself, and he sat helplessly on the ground. They slowly approached. The young man turned to look at them. He asked them to stop. Why would they do that to someone they didn't know? The purple-shirted man sat down in front of the young man. He put the sword on his tongue and pretended to speak dangerously to the young man. "Korean, you come from the kingdom of powerful hunters, so you should know how to walk, right?" Every drop of the young man's sweat fell. He hadn't even participated in the trial, yet they came and robbed him like this. A girl quickly ran over. She felt extremely offended by their actions and asked them to stop, otherwise she would denounce them to the community. The attitude of the exploiting group was still extremely indifferent. If the girl had such magnanimity, he would have let her take her place with the young man. They began to threaten her. If she left all her belongings behind, he would let one of them leave, and Sung Yoon arrived at that moment. He originally didn't want to get involved in the troublesome things out there. He deliberately ignored them, but they called him back. When the three of them saw that Sung Yoon was Korean, they were extremely excited and their faces became more and more strange. They continued to combine their skills to deal with Sung Yoon the same way they dealt with the young man. Sung Yoon just sighed. He already wanted to be humble. He just liked to force people to take action. The powerful attack was activated. The mana shield was activated at the same time, and their skills were all destroyed by Sung Yoon. He slowly pulled out his sword. It turned out they chose death. Instant acceleration is always Sung Yoon's top choice. He rushes at them like an arrow. They wanted to activate lightning to deal with Sung Yoon, but it was too late. Sung Yoon's sword marks appeared on their necks. They couldn't even feel pain, they were dead. Sung Yoon continued to rush forward, easily destroying the ice protecting the ringleader. The oligarch already knew what fear was like. He quickly begged Sung Yoon to stop. He knew it was wrong. Sung Yoon shook his head and refused. This was the price he had to pay for his actions. The tip of his sword stabbed straight into his throat. A stream of fresh blood shot up. Sung Yoon absorbed the souls of these three troublemakers. His proficiency level increased by 6.4%. The girl slowly walked closer to Sung Yoon. She apologized to him for not standing up to help him. These guys are just small fry. Sung Yoon can easily handle them. No need to bother her to take action. He told her, "I'm fine. You can go now and don't worry about anything." The girl bowed her head to thank Sung Yoon, then left. Sung Yoon's fighting attitude made the young man extremely suspicious, wondering if Sung Yoon was a ranker. After all, Sung Yoon was always in the top 10, so just answer that he's a ranker to ease his mind. The young man profusely thanked Sung Yoon, thanks to Sung Yoon, he could still stand here. Sung Yoon actually wasn't chivalrous at all, he only helped him because he thought he might be threatened. As soon as Sung Yoon left, this young man quickly called him back. He hesitantly asked Sung Yoon, "Those bodies, please give them to me." Sung Yoon was confused and asked him why he had to do that. The young man explained to Sung Yoon that because Sung Yoon saved him, if Sung Yoon gave them to him, he would give Sung Yoon a skill. A mouth appeared in the palm of the young man's hand. He called it gluttony, then put all the corpses into the mouth in the palm of his hand. Sung Yoon looked at him suspiciously. Could this also be a skill? The young man just pointed at the system board in front of him. He would give Sung Yoon a skill as promised. Sung Yoon accepted the additional skill from the foodie admin. The item was added to a store skill. The young man explained the skill to Sung Yoon. This was a skill that could create wings on Sung Yoon's back, allowing him to fly. Sung Yoon can also use it immediately if purchased with SXP. Sung Yoon was pleased to thank this young man for the gift. He would check it out as soon as he returned to the waiting room. Admin Bok Hak had just seen Sung Yoon receive additional skills from the gluttonous admin, and immediately issued a warning notice to him, asking him not to approach his fake challenge. Thiet Huyat also quickly entered this war of words. Not only that, but the Black Devil administrator also stood outside and watched happily. Sung Yoon's sweat dropped at this unexpected war of words. But he observed the way they grabbed the fake challengers. Surely the fake challengers must have something they wanted from those people. Sung Yoon told himself, he will find out eventually. Because of the gift the young man gave him, Sung Yoon and he temporarily traveled together. The young man walked and told Sung Yoon some information about this place. The public areas were divided into arena, auction area and gambling area. Currently the dimensional worlds that are known to have invaded other places are Ares, Volam and Kallian. They are the only 3 dimensions that are invading Earth's dimensions. Sung Yoon focused more and more on the information the young man provided. There were still so many things he didn't know about this place, nor did he expect it to exist. Ares promotes chivalry, and the challengers in Volam are quite similar, except some are more ferocious. The young man also heard that Kallian is the residence of demons, fairies and beastmen. It's unexpected that this young man with an ordinary appearance is so wise. He smiled and said to Sung Yoon, "You know these things are all thanks to the questionnaire." The two of them walked together like that, and soon reached the real public area. Before Sung Yoon and he broke up, the young man proactively gave his business card to Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon looked at the business card. It turned out that this young man was the team manager of the Challenger Management Team of the Hunter Association. The young man also told Sung Yoon that if he has anything curious, he should contact him at any time. When entering the public area, abnormal statuses will return to normal and fake challenges will not be able to fight each other. The young man wanted to go straight to the auction site. And Sung Yoon also had a place to go. The place he chose was the arena. The atmosphere in the arena was extremely noisy. The dissatisfied screams of the players kept rising. How could this bastard lose? It's a big hole. Sung Yoon just felt that this place was not like an arena, but more like a betting area. The administrator saw the atmosphere in the arena and continued to discuss, and notifications were sent to Sung Yoon again. He proactively sat on the red chair. The arena system was immediately activated, giving Sung Yoon 2 choices between betting and fighting. Sung Yoon was confused. He selected the help text. The system explained to Sung Yoon. The arena is divided into 2 systems, betting and fighting. If you choose to bet, you can bet on the people who will fight. You can lose or gain points depending on the result of the fake challenge you bet on. Sung Yoon can also choose to fight. He can fight against other fake challengers to receive rewards. Once the match is confirmed, each person's real name and rank will be revealed. The match is only confirmed when you have placed a bet on the reward type such as skills, items or powers. Of course, you will also receive a corresponding reward. Once the match is confirmed, you will be able to fight in the arena. The match ends if one person surrenders and Sung Yoon will be returned to the exact place he was before entering the match. Elsewhere, the red-haired girl was extremely frustrated. She kept waiting but no one challenged her. Did she win too much? When she wanted to leave, she suddenly received a challenge from a player named Han Sung-yoon. The girl started to feel interesting. Sung-yoon had never participated in a match before daring to challenge her. If so, then she has no reason to refuse. The match between Sung-yoon and a girl named Catherine Bennett took place. Catherine was filled with enthusiasm. Fire radiated from within her body. She will give Sung-yoon a lifelong lesson. The fire diem authority she gave birth to was activated, its power aimed at Sung-yoon. Sung-yoon took one step back, 3 steps forward. He activated his sword master authority to defend. The sword slashed horizontally into the fireball that was coming at him. Sung-yoon cut off Catherine's fireball. She widened her eyes in surprise and looked at Sung-yoon. How is this possible? Sung-yoon brought the sword forward. Catherine's words just now, you will make her regret it. The one who teaches her lessons should be you. At the same time, in a peaceful place with the sound of rustling bamboo leaves, a girl with white hair was watching Sung-yoon's challenge through the cosmic mirror. She didn't expect that in just a short time, Sung-yoon would master the sword. Deciding to give Sung-yoon a great skill was an excellent idea. She decided that from now on, she just had to win this challenger's heart faster than the rest. Although she doesn't know for sure what will happen in the future, she is confident that Sung-yoon can resolve the resentment that she cannot do on her own. Returning to Sung-yoon's battle, Catherine simultaneously created 3 fireballs to attack Sung-yoon. Sung-yoon immediately activated the instant acceleration skill and jumped high. The 3 fireballs collided with each other, forming small fireballs that not only followed Sung-yoon. Sung-yoon fights with fireballs in the air. Everyone cannot expect that Sung-yoon can cut Catherine's fire ground. Although Sung-yoon was able to cut down Catherine's fire, his outer layer of clothing was still burned by the fire. As soon as Sung-yoon saw it, he quickly landed. Because he didn't have the privilege of the wind, he couldn't maximize the cloak's effect. Catherine is still full of fighting energy, constantly creating giant fireballs. Her expression was full of arrogance. She wanted to see how long Sung-yoon could endure. The administrators who were observing the match were also extremely challenged to see what Sung-yoon would do to these flames. The fireballs rushed to attack Sung-yoon. Sung-yoon dodged left and right. He temporarily defended, then activated the Sword Master special skill. The mana consumption rate increased by 6%. The Sword Master was continuously activated by him, meaning the mana consumption rate increased. If the match continued, it would only put Sung-yoon at a greater disadvantage. At that moment, he remembered that he had absorbed the soul of Challenger Baek Sun Hat to permanently increase his stats. Not only that, he also absorbed one of the skills of the Challenger Baek Sun Hat, achieving the B+ level Lightning Sword Energy skill. Sung-yoon glanced at the detailed description of the skill and discovered that the skill could help him shoot sword energy. Catherine did not see Sung-yoon counterattack. She became even more urgent, continuing to create blocks of fire to attack Sung-yoon. This time, Catherine did not create fireballs anymore. She transferred to another dimension, but Sung-yoon was convinced anyway. The fire formed into fiery arrows, simultaneously attacking Sung-yoon. Sung-yoon kept running, absolutely unable to let himself stay awake, like a game of cat and mouse in which he was the mouse that was avoiding. Sung-yoon suddenly stopped. He silently activated the congestion skill. This was also the first time using it. He didn't know if the attack skill would work. But without trying, how could he know? He had simultaneously activated the 2 skills Master Sword Chi and Thunder Sword Chi. All of this was in response to Catherine. In the afternoon, he cut the ground and stepped into Catherine's firewall. Catherine realized that the situation was unstable. She quickly activated the fire magic shield to block Sung-yoon's attack. Although Catherine was able to block Sung-yoon's consciousness, she did not expect that Sung-yoon would stand behind her and put the tip of his sword into her neck. Catherine reluctantly said, "You're so incredibly strong. I give up. The ultimate winner is still Sung-yoon." He receives the C+ level Storm Sword skill reward and will be teleported to the general area of the 10th floor. Sung-yoon left the arena because he saw this as an opportunity to practice using sword energy, so he was lenient, but he had to admit that Catherine was quite strong. He would note down this name, then he would check the skill he had just received. His face could not hide his disappointment. He thought he would receive some extremely superior skill, but it was just a skill with the effect of activating when stabbing. The attack speed would increase 3 times. The battle between you and Catherine is just the beginning, you will continue to grow stronger. Sung Yoon continues to challenge other competitors. His opponent this time is Iwaaki Yuji, a Japanese ranked 11th fake challenger. When Yuji expressed his expectation of fighting Sung Yoon, but with Sung Yoon's current tattered appearance like a beggar, perhaps Sung Yoon's level is just as poor. Sung Yoon just smiled strangely. He told Yuji, I find it funny because you have the same thoughts as me. His words made Yuji extremely angry, proactively using his weapon to attack Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon immediately leaned aside defensively. The expression on Sung Yoon's face was extremely surprised. The surprise was not because his opponent was strong, but because he was weaker than he thought, or maybe he had become much stronger. The corner of Sung Yoon's mouth curled up. This match may have come to an end. Sung Yoon just raised the sword. Yuji immediately vomited blood. He received too much damage in just one attack from Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon easily won. Sung Yoon continues to fight, and of course victory is always in his hands. After those matches, Sung Yoon received the title of Fighting Master. His strength increased by 2 points. In China, high in the mountains, there was a young man in retreat. At that moment, a disciple of the sect walked up to him and announced that Great Elder Baek Sunhat had died. Disciple he bowed his head and recounted that before he died, the elder said that a place called the Earth Dimension had recently connected with our dimension, and he tried to enter that dimension. While he was speaking, he heard the sound of leaves rustling, footsteps and a plaintive voice growing louder at the same time. A beast with dense fur and a large body suddenly appeared behind him. Master, young master still spoke very indifferently. Has it been 5 years since I took a break from climbing the tower? The sword slowly flew into his hand. He was in no hurry to take the sword. The beast had now destroyed the giant rock behind him. The young master slowly flew up, then jumped straight onto the monster's head, stabbed the sword into its head, and the monster immediately stopped breathing. The young master stood over the beast's body and said, Earth Dimension? Sounds fun. He then ordered his disciples to find the person who killed Baek Sunhat at all costs. After a while of bombarding all the rankings in the arena, Sung Yoon returned to the waiting room on the 10th floor. As soon as he returned, he jumped into bed, all fatigue completely gone. He scrolled through the notice board. Even though he didn't expect this, he unlocked a new special skill. This skill is a C+ level Iron Wing, with a value of 1500 SXP. A skill that helps him fly. Even though it was just imagining it, it was enough to make him feel happy. The only problem is that he can't buy it right now because he doesn't have enough SXP points anymore. But he will temporarily ignore this and move on to more important things. Sung Yoon sat up. Now he will synthesize all the skills he has received. He activated his unique special skill, a combination skill. After that, a series of new skills were created by Sung Yoon. He received a B-level shield defense skill, a C+ shadow movement speed, and a C+ attack speed. The lucky counterattack shield skill was experimented on by Sung Yoon. In front of his arm, it was like there was an invisible wall with extremely strong defense, making it difficult for the opponent to penetrate. Sung Yoon continued to enter the 10th level of testing. The theme of the experimental floor is cooperation. He only has 3 hours to complete the challenge. The completion condition is to prevent the resurrection of the Dark Lord within the specified time. You will receive a B-level skill proficiency tank if completed and will die if you fail. Sung Yoon was brought to the front of a cave. His teammates include famous members of the Trial Tower. Player Kim Sung-hun took first place. Player Oh Chun-sok took second place and finally player Princess Sodi took sixth place. The topic of cooperation made Sung-hun extremely uncomfortable. He only felt more annoyed. Sung Yoon looked at the way Sung-hun and Chun-sok spoke so closely. Perhaps the two of them had known each other in previous trials. The extremely normal atmosphere suddenly became abnormal. The princess player suddenly burst out screaming. He pointed at Sung Yoon and loudly said, "You are the guy the first met on the 4th floor." Sung-hun asked confusedly, did you two meet each other on the previous floor? Judging by the other guy's expression, the last time we met probably wasn't on good terms. Princess suddenly got goosebumps when recalling the past. He told Sung Hun that we met on the 4th floor during a cooperation experiment. That's where this bastard hunter kept killing people to increase his power. Princess Sodi, his daily life is all about deceiving others. He intentionally creates conflicts by pitting others against each other, then uses that time to monopolize the rewards. It was a survival strategy that he built, and it was really effective in a completely different place like the trial tower. This is not surprising, because the administrator who follows him is the cunning clown lord. Sung Yoon was surprised. Princess's expression was stiff, looking like a mentally ill person. Should he add a little spice to make it fresh? Sung Yoon wanted to explain to everyone, there was definitely some misunderstanding. But Princess was one step faster than him. He added loudly, he even brutally killed his teammates. Sung Yoon didn't understand where this guy got this information. He kept asking him, hey, you there, what are you talking about now? Sung Hun was filled with murderous intent. The weapon was taken out. He said harshly, instead of 4 people losing unity, I think 3 people who understand each other is enough. The tower's trial is not a simple place. Whoever is telling the truth, the liar will be destroyed on the spot. Sung Yoon fell into thought. If things went wrong and he had to fight all 3 of these guys at the same time, it would probably be the worst situation. Chun Sok suddenly spoke up and asked everyone to relax a bit. He turned to ask Princess Sodi, he said he met gangsters on the 4th floor, right? Princess insisted that he met a player with the nickname Hunter on the 4th floor. Chun Sok exclaimed in surprise, if he continued talking like that, he must know Hunter's real name because from the waiting room on the 5th floor, the nickname system is applied. While the 2 of you meet on the 4th floor, if Princess can say Hunter's real name, then this situation is considered over. Oh my god, this unexpected incident made Princess unpredictable. He started hesitantly, then said the name behind the nickname Hunter. He casually said the name Lee Kian Min, thinking that there was no way to authenticate the name in this place. Chun Sok turned his eyes to Sung Yoon. He asked if Sung Yoon had anything else to say. Sung Yoon sighed, it's time for this game to end, I'm so sorry. He slowly took out the hunter's license hanging around his neck. He just accidentally picked it up when he returned to Earth, but he didn't expect to be able to use it in this situation. He boldly said his name, he was Han Sung Yoon, and he didn't know who Lee Kian Min was. Princess was surprised. No matter what steps he considered, he couldn't figure out this situation. Princess frowned and frowned, you played stupid this time. When Sung Hun was about to take action, Sung Yoon stopped him, wanting to handle the situation himself. If Sung Yoon had asked, Sung Hun would have let him handle this matter himself. Princess heard their conversation and knew that only one person was alive. She naturally felt relieved. If it was just one person, he could still handle it. He smiled cunningly, 2 idiots. There is still hope if I can kill him, even if they hate me. Since it's too difficult for 2 people to pass the 4 people's trial by themselves, they won't be able to do anything to me. Sung Yoon stood in front of him. He asked Princess to take responsibility for everything he said. Princess was indifferent. The thing he cared most about right now was survival. Then he takes out the magic book. He will let Sung Yoon know that Sung Yoon is not the only one with power in this place. Princess's swamp spirit vine skill was wrapping around Sung Yoon's legs. Sung Yoon immediately activated the mana resistance skill, and Princess's soul vines were completely disappeared. Sung Yoon quickly rushed over. In Princess's eyes, Sung Yoon was just a troublemaker. He created a defensive shield. Therefore, the ground also became shaking. Sung Hun and Chun Sok proactively retreated, increasing the distance between them. The more Princess fought, the more agitated he became. He created a series of magic balls and continuously attacked Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon kept moving. All of Princess's orbs did not affect him. He rushed towards Princess. He wanted to punch him, but he read his movements, so he quickly backed away. Princess mocked Sung Yoon. It seems like the hunter has become the prey. At that moment, Princess's orb suddenly emitted a puff of smoke, and electricity began to accumulate, aiming straight at Sung Yoon. Princess could not hide her joy. In the end, Sung Yoon was still defeated at his hands. The joy didn't last long before it ended. Sung Yoon promptly activated the counterattack shield skill and successfully fought off the palace. Princess didn't understand, nor did he want to understand why Sung Yoon was able to block his attack. The game officially started. Game on, baby. Sung Yoon proactively rushed towards where Princess was standing. He immediately formed hard blocks of stone, blocking Sung Yoon's path. How can his mediocre skills make it difficult for Sung Yoon? Don't forget you're ranked 3rd and he's only ranked 6th. Sung Yoon easily destroyed Princess's stone wall. Sung Han and Chun Sok stood outside observing the match between Sung Yoon and Princess. Chun Sok suddenly asked Sung Han if he knew who Sung Yoon was. Sung Han shook his head. He didn't know and had never seen anyone similar to Sung Yoon in the ranks of high-level hunters. But Sung Han can be sure of one thing. Sung Yoon has not given his all in the battle with Princess. Sung Yoon's strength can even be compared to Sung Han. Sung Yoon's battle has now come to an end. His sword made a long mark on Princess's arm. Blood splattered from her arm, causing Princess to fall to her knees. While Sung Han witnessed the match, he also felt equally surprised. Sung Yoon did not kill but suppressed his opponent in a very calm way. Princess now knows what it's like to be afraid of writing. He quickly begged Sung Yoon to wait a moment. He threatened you. If you kill me, you won't be able to survive this trial. This trial includes 4 first-class people. This is a trial tower for the purpose of survival. Would they make it so easy that he could get through even if one person was missing? Sung Yoon felt awkward. He turned to look at Sung Han and Chun Sok. The two of them understood what Sung Yoon meant, but they wouldn't interfere. All will be left to Sung Yoon to decide. But Princess is an unreasonable person. He took advantage of Sung Yoon when he wasn't paying attention and wanted to kill him. Sung Yoon couldn't be softer towards him. If he was like that, you would have sent him home to see his grandparents sooner and then his head would have been split in 2. However, that is still not the end. What we just saw was just Princess activating the deception feature. Princess has not yet reunited with her grandparents. He originally intended to hide his trump card. But it seems that in this situation, not using it is not possible. Sung Yoon activated his defensive shield, blocking all of his chains aimed at him. His chains shattered. His chain was still there, suddenly appearing behind Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon activated gracefully like a cloud. His movement speed increases by 40%. Current skill progression is 4. His chain rushed forward. Sung Yoon's position seemed to be broken. Sung Yoon was faster than him. He successfully avoided the attack, but instead stepped in front of him in a flash. Unexpectedly, his shield was still in front of his eyes. He told him that compared to the 3 people's trials, accompanying a trash like you was much more dangerous. At that moment, Sung Yoon released his counterattack shield. All damage from the attack he caused is released, and all of it is returned to Princess. He was truly reunited with his grandparents. Sung Yoon receives the old mantle of the A-level vampire count, and the B+ level celestial blood. Sung Han and Chun Sok also arrived at this time. All problems were resolved. Then all 3 went inside and began their challenge. As soon as Sung Yoon stepped inside, he noticed the first engineer statue. This statue has a very special point, which is that it is being rotated around by chains as if it were being held captive. The 3 of them went deeper inside. In front of them was a statue of a headless knight, sitting proudly on a throne. Surrounded by statues of knights, and all the statues are tied with diligence. Chun Sok believes that the giant thing in front of them is the Dark Tyrant King. The break is over and the 10th floor trial has begun. The system displays a notification reminding them that the remaining time will gradually decrease and the Dark Army will appear. Let's prevent the resurrection of the evil Tyrant King. The statues gradually moved, then diligently removed them, mastered their bodies, and stepped in front of Sung Yoon's group. Sung Yoon immediately realized the problem. He told Sung Han and Chun Sok that we had to prevent the guards from giving the head they were carrying behind their backs to the Tyrant King. Sung Han was filled with enthusiasm. If that was the case, then they would go one-on-one. The battle between players and knights would begin. Sung Yoon confidently said that he would defeat his opponent in just one sword strike. But his opponent seemed to be difficult to deal with. When Sung Yoon rushed in, he also rushed forward, even actively attacking Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon quickly used his sword to defend, but was still pushed back by his attack. He realized his opponent also used sword energy to attack. This challenge is not easy at all. Will the others be okay? Sung Han is similar to Sung Yoon. He was knocked away by his opponent. Then he quickly ran to the Tyrant King's side to help the Tyrant King attach his head. While he was running close to the Tyrant King, something suddenly ran towards him, and he was pushed back by that thing's power. Sung Han appeared promptly. He almost succeeded in beheading the Tyrant King. Sung Han reminded his teammates, "These guys are all boss level, don't let your guard down." At the same time, Chun Sok took out his magic hat from the inventory. He put it on his head with an extremely uncomfortable look on his face. He calmly told his opponent, "This hat doesn't look very good on me, so to be honest, I don't want to wear it. But for me to have to wear this ridiculous hat on my head means you all have to die." He raised his bow and simultaneously shot 3 arrows at the knight. All 3 arrows were easily avoided by the knight, then rushed straight towards Chun Sok. Chun Sok was still extremely calm. Fighting with a magician, close combat was an understandable method. But that only applies when fighting against normal magicians, but for Chun Sok, baby, he continued to take out his weapon. Sung Yoon saw his comrades fighting so hard, he was reassured. Now he just needs to do his role well. His opponent was still constantly attacking him. Sung Yoon jumped high to defend. The stone blocks affected by the knight's attack also flew into the air with him. Sung Yoon rotated a few times in the air, continuously kicking giant stones into his body. Sung Yoon continues to activate the elegant skill like a cloud. Movement speed increases by 50%, and the cumulative score of the skill is 5 points. Sung Yoon did not directly attack him, but instead wriggled away to another place. Everything Sung Yoon is doing has a purpose. He is currently stepping on a shadow. The C+ level Shadow Set secret skill is activated. His power points will temporarily increase by 3. Series skills The C grade Bowblade Plus is also activated. The sword swing speed has increased by 10%. The cumulative progression of the skill is 5 points. The activated skill could not stop there. He continued to activate the lightning sword skill. 3 skills combined together. Attacking the opponent at the same time, who could block it? The head on the shoulder of the knight was smashed by Sung Yoon. Sung Han had now activated the lightning skill. The knight was surrounded by his electric light. The head on his shoulder was also destroyed by him. Sung Han and Sung Yoon finished off the knights. Now only Chun Sok is left fighting the knights. He continuously moved his wand, attacking his opponent. Then end the battle with an aerial attack. The Tyrant King's head was also broken in 2. The 3 heads of the Tyrant King were all destroyed by the 3 of them. Now they can rest assured that the Tyrant King cannot be reborn. What needs to be done now is to end this as quickly as possible. While moving, Sung Yoon suddenly heard a strange noise. There was still a statue that had not been destroyed. The 3 knights who had just been defeated by the 3 of them suddenly lined up like a pedestal. The statue outside the gate that everyone had seen came on horseback and flew directly in front of the Tyrant King. Sung Han immediately ran after him, but it seemed too late to stop him. The knight held the head and rushed forward. Sung Yoon used all his strength to throw the sword forward. Just as the head was about to be attached to the Tyrant King's neck, something flew in and the Tyrant King's head was immediately broken into pieces. The engineer was extremely angry. He was clearly about to succeed, but now he was completely bankrupt. Things didn't stop there. He suddenly picked up the Tyrant King's crown, then put it on his head. He actively stabbed the sword into his throat. A scream of pain rang out. People don't understand what he is trying to do, but they must stop him. And then, he turned his own head into the head of the Tyrant King, willing to sacrifice himself so that the Tyrant King could be reborn. The 3 of them tried to rush in to stop, but it was too late. The head was already attached to the Tyrant King's neck. The Tyrant King has been revived. An unexpected situation occurred that Sung Yoon could not expect. A special mission appears. Sung Yoon's group must defeat the Dark Tyrant King. The Dark Tyrant King slowly woke up, not only that but also had an inviolable VIP pro skill. All damage has been disabled. Challengers with higher stats than the Tyrant King will not be able to damage him. Sung Yoon is also the first time he has to confront a monster with skills. The Tyrant King slowly stood up from the throne. The sword immediately returned to him. The Tyrant King quickly demonstrated his strength, swinging his powerful sword to attack the player. His power was so terrible that Sung Yoon was extremely frightened. If causing damage was impossible, his group could not do anything to him. At that moment, the Tyrant King with eyes full of murderous intent suddenly appeared behind Sung Yoon. Sung Yoon realized that danger was behind him. He really wanted to run to another place, but still not as fast as the Tyrant King's attack speed. He almost went to heaven. In front of Sung Yoon was not only the Tyrant King but also the knights accompanying him to protect him. Sung Hun and Chun Sok ran in just in time. Sung Hun suggested that he quickly find a way to deal with these knights before attacking the Tyrant King. However, Sung Yoon had another request. He asked the two of them, could both of them block that Tyrant King's attack? Sung Hun was extremely confused by Sung Yoon's decision. It wasn't like they couldn't damage the Tyrant King, so wouldn't it be more reasonable to deal with the knights? Sung Yoon told the two of them that he had thought of a possibility that could defeat the Tyrant King. Sung Hun turned away. He decided to trust his teammates. He kept reminding Sung Yoon that it would be quite difficult for him and Chun Sok to hold him off, so don't waste too much time. Then he and Chun Sok ran forward, following Sung Yoon's plan. Now these knights will play a game with Sung Yoon. Sung Hun used lightning to attack the Tyrant King but it still had no effect. Not only that, but the Tyrant King also activates the special skill of a Tyrant King. Both Sung Hun and Chun Sok were affected by the Tyrant King's special skill, making them unable to move. The Tyrant King swings his sword to the ground. The sword moves in a straight line to the positions of the two players. After that, Sung Hun activated the mana resistance skill. The influence of the Tyrant King's special skill will be temporarily removed from his body. He ran towards Chun Sok, using his body to protect him. Sung Hun therefore suffered all the damage. He fell down in Chun Sok's arms. The Tyrant King also stepped forward at this time. Chun Sok and Sung Hun now have absolutely no ability to defeat him. Will death come to them? And at that moment, Sung Yoon appeared. He activated his defensive shield, successfully blocking the Tyrant King's sword, protecting the lives of Sung Hun and Chun Sok. Sung Yoon absorbed all the souls here and used up all the stored souls. His stats increased. The shield skill counterattacks and releases all stored damage in one attack. Sung Yoon continued to activate the lightning sword skill and was as elegant as rhyme. He concentrated all the skills he had just activated into one powerful move, throwing them all at the Tyrant King at the same time. The Tyrant King received all the damage from Sung Yoon's move. His arm cracked. He continued to activate the special skill of a Tyrant King. Sung Yoon is still affected by the Tyrant's special skill. Sung Yoon immediately activated the powerful attack skill B and the mana resistance skill D. You have escaped his special ability. Sung Yoon immediately stood up. The mastery of the powerful destructive skill has reached 100%. The powerful destructive skill has increased to level C. Mastery of level D mana recovery skill reached 100%. Mana recovery skill increased to level C. He directly faced his attack. Even though this situation was extremely dangerous, for some reason he was laughing with joy. Could this be the feeling of the superior sense? Sung Yoon fought alone with the Tyrant King. He both defended and attacked. Now that your charging is complete, the counterattack shield skill has reached its highest level of damage absorption. Sung Yoon will release all the absorbed damage in one blow and aim straight to the Tyrant King. His attack grazed his arm, causing his arm to break off. The Tyrant King looked at his severed arm in extreme surprise. Why can just an ordinary human do such a thing? Sung Yoon took advantage of the victory and rushed forward.